family is once again in the spotlight, with Prince Harry airing his grievances to the world after losing a security battle.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point.
News today, royal news that is. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will no longer use their royal titles and will no longer get public money for royal duties. The Queen released the bombshell statement just moments ago, which says, quote, following many months of conversations and more recent discussions, I'm pleased that together we have found a constructive and supportive way.
Titles after a royal racism row. Tory MP Bob Seely is seeking to change the law after the Dutch version of a new book named King Charles and the Princess of Wales as the two royals who raised...
Y'all, the royals just did the unthinkable. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, once the golden couple of the monarchy, have officially been cut off. Not quietly, not behind the scenes, but publicly, brutally, and in full daylight. King Charles and the House of Lords just dropped a royal bombshell, snatching away every last title Harry ever held, every single one, from His Royal Highness to Duke of Sussex, to every fancy military ribbon he ever wore, gone. And the worst part, this isn't just a title swap. It's a full-blown exile. The monarchy basically looked Harry dead in the eye and said, you're done. Once a crown jewel, now just another name in the tabloids.
For independent life, I want to thank them for all their dedicated work across this country, the Commonwealth, and beyond. And I'm particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. It is my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful life. And Buckingham Palace also released...
And no, this didn't happen in the shadows. This wasn't some sneaky royal memo that got leaked. This was deliberate, calculated, and televised. King Charles III, with all the drama and weight of the British crown behind him, made it official. Harry is no longer a royal. He's not even His Royal Highness anymore. No honorary military glory. No standing in royal circles. Just Harry.
Many of us have been talking about for several days. This is really a full royal resignation from the royal family. They started out with their position last week that they were going to continue to be working members at some extent. This statement makes clear that they will not be. It affects a number of the issues that have been in the public discussion in the last few days. It makes...
And let's be very clear. This wasn't a warning shot. This was the kill switch. The monarchy didn't blink, didn't flinch. They were done playing nice. This wasn't a family squabble. It was a political purge. The royal institution clapped back loud and clear. Loyalty to the crown isn't negotiable, not even if you were born in the palace nursery.
William to finally deal with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Radar Online is reporting that the Prince of Wales plans to strip Harry and Meghan of their Sussex title when he becomes king. Hallelujah.
Harry, he didn't step down, he got shoved. By tradition, by parliament, and by a royal system that had officially lost patience. He's now the first royal in modern history to be booted by the book. Not just cast out emotionally, but removed legally and symbolically. The palace door slammed shut, and for once, no amount of PR could pry it open. The message? Royal blood doesn't make you untouchable.
Military appointments, that money will be repaid for Frogmore, which had been a huge source of issues in the United Kingdom, and that they most definitely would not be receiving any further public funding for their royal lives.
I'm just taking a look at the statement from the Queen. That first line there is one that we're all scratching our heads about, Richard, following many months of conversation.
Let's not pretend this came out of the blue. Oh no, this mess was years in the making. Public betrayal, scandalous contradictions, headlines that made the firm sweat. It all built up like a ticking time bomb, and when it finally exploded, the monarchy did not hesitate. They handled it the only way they know how, with cold precision.
Fascinating. Now, I would argue bombshell reporting from Radar Online, who are doing really good work lately. They report ruthless Prince William. By the way, I don't agree with their characterization of Prince William as ruthless. I would argue he's just being sensible. But anyway, they say ruthless Prince William is eagerly awaiting the day he'll be crowned Britain's next king, as he's raring.
We all remember the Oprah interview. How could we forget? Harry and Meghan dropped bombshell after bombshell, accusations of racism, of royal neglect, of being left in the cold. It was raw, shocking, and for the monarchy, absolutely devastating. The institution that lives and dies by image suddenly found itself dragged by one of their own.
Out of line again. The removal would require an act of parliament, but those in the know say the palace has already called several secret meetings to discuss the possibility and put an actionable plan in place. The royals are absolutely furious that Meghan continues to flaunt the Sussex title for her and Harry's own self-gain. An insider confirmed to Radar Online, when King Charles does pass away, it's a certainty that William will pull the trigger and strip her and Harry of their HRH status. Now, they also report that Harry's in trouble. He misses his family terribly, but no one is speaking to him anymore, which was, of course, reporting which
The fallout? Nuclear. And different from anything they'd seen before. This wasn't some prince partying in Vegas or another messy divorce. This was a direct assault on the monarchy's moral core. They weren't just dealing with private family business anymore. This was a full-scale crisis in the court of public opinion. The monarchy was being judged, and it wasn't looking good.
It really seemed that this was something Harry and Meghan had been discussing, made the announcement, and then there was that emergency meeting that happened. So walk us through that a little bit there. Do you think this was something that they had been discussing with the Queen for quite some time now, but perhaps the announcement was just what the breaking news part about that was, but this was something that was going to happen in any case?
I think that's exactly what the case was. There's no doubt that.
And if Oprah lit the match, Harry's memoir, Spare, was a gasoline bath. Y'all, he named names. He accused Prince William of throwing punches. He slammed Camilla as manipulative. He even went after his own father. Nothing was off limits. And for the firm, that crossed a sacred line.
To him anymore, which was, of course, reporting which really stunned us earlier in the week. Brittany, wow. Obviously, there has been a feeling that Charles probably doesn't want to go nuclear. He's always been...
After Spare, the silence from the palace was deafening. But don't mistake silence for surrender. Behind the scenes, that book triggered alarms in every gilded corridor. Harry had broken the unspoken code, discretion. And once that trust shattered, there was no putting it back together. The Netflix documentary only made it worse. One long, glossy confession that the palace saw as a pay-per-view betrayal.
There has been a feeling that Charles probably doesn't want to go nuclear. He's always been a little bit too soft, in my humble opinion, when dealing with the fallout of Harry and Meghan's quite obvious breaches of the Sandringham Agreement. But William isn't going to take that, is he? Do you think he would be right if he does decide to go through with this and strip Harry and Meghan of their titles once he takes the throne?
Yeah, I've always been of the opinion, Dan, that it would probably be actually William who enacts any sort of change. I think Charles in this instance is acting more, you could say, as a father and less like a king. He really needs to actually take the threat of this.
Critics screamed cash grab. Supporters called it liberation. But the royals? They saw betrayal dressed up as storytelling. It wasn't just what Harry and Meghan said, it was how they said it. Polished, global, and making millions. Then came Harry's BBC interview in May 2025. He wanted to reconcile, said he missed home. He played the concerned dad card, talking about safety and the media. But behind those teary eyes, the palace saw manipulation.
And by the time they catch up, they might be caught completely flat-footed if they don't take the threat that Harry and Meghan pose with their cosplay royal brand a bit more seriously here. But Charles obviously is dealing with cancer. He's just getting used to being king. So I understand why this is a process, but I really do hope they make a decision there pretty soon, because I think it's best for the whole family if William doesn't have to be the one that does it.
And the public, they weren't buying it either. The poor me routine had worn thin. You want back in, but still keep throwing stones. The contradiction was too loud to ignore. And just like that, the sympathy vanished. Support for the monarchy hardened like stone.
To the interview they gave in South Africa when they were away in September and October, this would have prompted some alarm bells at the palace. They may have raised some issues. Obviously, their non-appearance at the Christmas.
And this wasn't just about Harry anymore. This was about the monarchy itself. It was survival mode, relevance, respect. And the message from the House of Lords and King Charles was clear. No one is above the system, not even Diana's son. They had to act, and act fast.
Not even like the stuff they're doing with As Ever and Netflix and Lemonada Media is at all classy or royal. It's just tacky and revolting. So you know, Brittany, I have been advocating for the removal of the titles from the moment they chose to leave the royal family, because unfortunately, I could always see what was coming.
This wasn't petty revenge, it was damage control. Harry's titles were axed to send a thunderous warning. The crown comes first, always. You burn the palace burns your legacy right back. And trust me, they didn't just strip titles, they erased history.
Sort of been putting forward some ideas. I think the announcement itself, making the announcement unilaterally, as they did on that Wednesday after they were at the High Commission in London, I think that was the shocker. I think the royal family had hoped to keep this discussion.
What makes this even more savage? It wasn't some behind-the-curtains palace edit. This was a full-blown parliamentary showdown. Everyone watched it unfold. Every reporter, every citizen, every tabloid. It was royal justice in broad daylight.
Is that there was no recourse for a principal. They couldn't really discipline a principal like they could an employee. And so it's like, well, what do they do? And I think one of the things that should be an option is going, hey, if you're part of this family, we welcome you, this is great. But if you step out of line, if you decide you want to...
At the core of this royal takedown, a law most people didn't even know existed, the Title Deprivation Act of 1917. A dusty old statute made to punish wartime traitors. Yep, you heard that right. They dug up an ancient royal weapon to deal with Harry. That's how seriously the monarchy took this. Think about it. They used a law meant for traitors on the Queen's own grandson, the one who led this legal drama, Lord Goldsmith. And honey, he did not hold back. His speech was like a firestorm. He dragged Harry for arrogance, for playing both sides, for smiling into cameras while secretly torching the crown. He didn't mince words. He made it painfully clear. Harry wasn't just lost, he was dangerous. As for Meghan, she might not have had the same legal titles to be stripped, but make no mistake, she was erased just as thoroughly. Her name has vanished from palace letters, her image quietly removed from communications, her charities quietly disowned. They didn't just exile her, they ghosted her. And for Meghan Markle, the girl who shook Buckingham Palace to its core, that's the most brutal exile of all. Polls in the UK show her popularity is below freezing. Headlines aren't calling her trailblazing anymore. They're calling her toxic. Deals with Spotify and Netflix crumbling. Even her philanthropic work, once cloaked in royal sparkle, is now struggling to stay relevant without that crown-backed glow. The Sussex brand was built on royal clout, and now that clout is gone. Archwell might as well be R2. The Netflix docuseries The Tell-Alls, the podcast episodes, suddenly they feel like reruns of a show nobody wants to watch. You can only play the royal victim card for so long before people change the channel, and now it's happening. Hollywood insiders are whispering that brands are backing off. The once can't-miss couple is now considered too risky. Too much baggage, too much drama. And let's be real, without the crown, what are they? Just another celebrity couple with a podcast. No more private security funded by the palace. No more red carpet royal status. No more glamorous tours to Africa or Australia. No ceremonial duties. No family role. No palace invites. And the royal line of succession still technically there, but Harry's part in the actual workings of the monarchy deleted. He's a prince on paper, but legally? He's not a prince in practice. His royal identity has been stripped down to bone, and the world saw it happen in real time. Even Meghan's sneaky move, sending a gift to a friend labeled Her Royal Highness, sparked outrage. Royals don't play games with protocol, and when you break those rules, the institution remembers. William, he's fuming. Sources say he's been pushing behind the scenes for years to have Harry and Meghan's titles removed completely, not just clipped, slashed. He's done with the drama, done with the scandals, done watching his family's legacy get dragged for headlines. And Charles, he finally agreed. Because this wasn't just a family feud, this was a message to every royal watching. Disrespect the crown, and the crown will strike back. The monarchy wasn't playing anymore. Charles may love his son, but he loves the institution more. He had no choice. He had to act. Because let's be honest, Harry didn't just step away. He torched the palace gates on his way out, and the monarchy? It's not some influencer agency. It's a centuries-old fortress that survives because it protects itself. Harry's royal identity, once priceless, is now in shambles. The ceremonial military roles revoked. His Royal Highness status stripped. The Duke of Sussex, not anymore. It's all gone. And in its place, just Harry, a man with no kingdom, a prince only by blood, not by law. The crown didn't just close the door on Harry, they slammed it, bolted it, and burned the blueprints. And as for Meghan, let's be honest, she was never going to get an official title the way she wanted. But now, even the fantasy is gone. She's been scrubbed from the royal record like a bad dream. No plaques, no photos, no mentions in briefings, nothing. She may still call herself the Duchess of Sussex, but to the monarchy, she's just Mrs. Markle. That's it. And if you think they're getting those titles back anytime soon, think again. One Tory MP is already drafting a bill to legally erase all their titles. No more Duchess. Just plain old Mr. and Mrs. The Message. If you leave the royal house, you don't get to take the chandelier with you. Even in Hollywood, things are shifting. The streaming deals that once brought in millions, drying up. Spotify walked. Netflix is reevaluating. And Meghan's new podcast deal, let's just say it's not exactly Oprah level anymore. Without the royal connection, their brand has lost its sparkle. What used to be royalty meets relatability is now just celebrity drama with a crown emoji. And honey, brands are backing away. The once unstoppable Sussex machine? Sputtering. Even Archwell, their heart and soul nonprofit, is fading into the noise. Why? Because it was never just about charity. It was about royal prestige, and without it, it's just another celebrity initiative trying to stay relevant. No more default headlines, no more instant global press, no more royal magic to make every cause sparkle. And what about Meghan's rebrand? She's tried it all. Fashion, podcast, politics. But let's be real. The only thing that ever got people clicking was her proximity to the crown. And now that thread's been cut, she's no longer the Duchess. She's a former actress with a lot of baggage and a PR team working overtime. Meanwhile, Harry, he's spiraling. That BBC interview, the one where he got emotional talking about his dad's health, his hopes for reconciliation, his fear of returning to the UK, it backfired big time. People didn't see a brave prince trying to heal wounds. They saw a manipulator using emotion as strategy, and worse, acting like the victim again. And the public? They've had it. One commentator said it best. He's not just lost. He's lost touch. No public reconciliation, no hugs, no tearful reunions, not even a comment from William. Because William, he's done. And he didn't say a word, but he gave his full blessing for the final cut. He knew the only way to protect the crown was to sacrifice the rebel prince. And in true Windsor fashion, he didn't have to shout it. His silence screamed it for him. Back in America, the reaction's been mixed. Some called it cruel, others called it necessary. But the truth? The world is watching two ex-royals try to keep their empire alive without the oxygen of the crown, and it's not going well. Because in the end, Harry and Meghan didn't just step away. They built a career dragging the place that made them, and eventually the institution fought back. The monarchy drew a line, and Harry crossed it. This isn't just about family drama, it's about legacy, loyalty, and the survival of an empire that spans centuries. And if you thought this was just another scandal, think again. This was the end of an era. No more compromise, no more confusion, no more playing both sides. Prince Harry is no longer a working royal. Meghan Markle is no longer royal anything. And the message to the world, the crown may be old, but honey, it never forgets. So what now? Can Harry and Meghan build a new empire without the gold-plated glow of the monarchy? Can they turn controversy into legacy? Can they stay relevant without dragging the very family that gave them power in the first place? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The monarchy has moved on with or without them, and the crown, it always wins in the end.